Australians are being reminded to prioritise cancer screening tests as detections of the disease increase at alarming rates. 200,000 people are expected to be diagnosed annually by the year 2033. Joining us live is Professor Jon Emery. He's from the University of Melbourne. Good to see you, Professor. Thanks for your time. With cancer obviously in the headlines in recent weeks after the diagnoses of King Charles and Kate, are you hoping that a silver lining may be that people do prioritise their health? It sounds like in recent years we collectively haven't been very good at staying on top of cancer screenings.
Yeah, that's right. As you say, the rates of cancer are projected to continue to increase. But during COVID, we saw a fall in the number of people completing their cancer screening. And those rates haven't really recovered as we've come out of COVID. And so the rates of screening in our breast screening program, in our bowel screening program, are still relatively low. So only 41% of people complete their bowel screening kit when it's sent to them in the post. And only just over 50% of women attend a breast screen when they're invited to.
We can sort of all understand why there was those delays during the pandemic, but since then, why is it that we're so reluctant to get tested? Is it the associated costs, the fear of finding something sinister? What is the most common reasoning to delay the screenings?
So I think there are a few reasons why people don't get around to doing their screening. Some of it is about fear of a cancer diagnosis, but we know that early detection through screening offers us the best chance of successful treatment. We also know that sometimes it's the nature of the screening test that puts people off. So people sometimes think the bowel screening test is quite a complicated and messy test, but actually when people are shown how to do the kit, for example, by the GP or nurse, and it's explained to them that it's actually a much simpler test to do than they imagine. So it's not nearly as messy or as unpleasant as people imagine. Similarly, when people have had a breast screen, they realise that, again, it's not such an unpleasant experience as they imagine. And we now have new ways of offering cervical screening where women can do their own self-collection to make it more acceptable.
So, Jon, what's a good sort of checklist for any viewers watching and thinking, gosh, how often should I be getting screened in Australia? What are the recommendations for the ages and the regularity that people should be doing those screens for the major cancers, the things that you mentioned, breast, cervical, bowel cancer, for example?
So we have three national cancer screening programs. For bowel screening at the moment, that is for people aged 50 to 74, and that comes in the post every 2 years. For breast screening, again, for women aged 50 to 74, and again, that's through an invitation every 2 years. And then the cervical screening program is from the age of 25 to 74, and that is now a 5-yearly test.
I see in some developed countries overseas, similar to Australia, there has been a push to drop the recommended screening ages for certain cancers. Do you think we have it about right here in Australia when we recommend mammograms, when we recommend those bowel cancer screening programs begin?
Yeah, so bowel screening, there have been recent changes to national guidelines that have actually recommended we should be starting bowel cancer screening from the age of 45. In reflection of the fact that there's a growing number of people developing bowel cancer at an earlier age. And we're waiting to hear whether or not those guideline recommendations will be lead to changes in the National Bowel Cancer Screening Programme. And so there may eventually be a change in the starting age in the National Bowel Screening Programme based on that age and the recognition that it is becoming more common in people in their 40s. Similarly, for breast screen, women can elect to attend a breast screen appointment in their 40s. They just don't get a formal invitation.
Professor Jon Emery, really appreciate you joining us. Perhaps you've given us all a kick up the pants to get on with it and stay on top of those screenings. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.